I love Hajime no Ippo, but more importantly, I'm quirky and different because I really freaking love a fight that everybody seems to hate. I seriously loved Ippo versus Wally. I'll get this out of the way. I know. It's pretty dumb. It's silly and it's not completely realistic to say the least. But at the end of the day, I'm reading a manga. And if I wanted to see realistic boxing, I would turn on the TV and watch real life boxing. Don't get me wrong, I appreciate all of the realistic aspects shown within Hajime no Ippo that can teach people about the world of boxing, but the realism aspect is not even close to the be all end all for me. And as a quick summary of how I got into Ippo, because I've never really mentioned it on this channel before, it started towards the end of lockdown last year when gyms started opening back up and I decided to join one properly, as I'd gained close to 20 kilos since lockdown started. And very soon after joining, I started taking boxing classes a couple of days a week as my cardio sessions, which depending on your gym might not be a good place to start because I could not walk the day after. Definitely ease into it, I made a bit of a mistake there. But within about a week of joining this gym, I happened to stumble across a super eye patch wolf video on Ippo, which is absolutely fantastic and I will link it in the description. From that point, of course, I was influenced and got into a habit of watching Hajime no Ippo. I was watching it every morning before and after I went to the gym to get myself hyped. Just like a kid would watch morning cartoons, although I'm sure they're not getting hyped for school. Now, the manga does the same thing for me. So I might have to start investing in some pre-workout when I finally catch up to the latest chapter. Anyhow, back to Ippo versus Wally. I think the reason that I love this fight so much comes down to two factors. First is that I came into this fight thinking that Ippo was going to lose. So I joined the Hajime no Ippo subreddit just after finishing the anime and starting my manga read because I wanted to know where to catch up from. And let's just say I got slightly spoiled on some parts. For example, I know at some point in time Ippo is going to suffer a pretty substantial loss, spiraling him into retirement. I also saw many posts discussing a character named Wally and how crazy OP he is, and some people even talking about how well they think he would do against Ricardo Martinez. Essentially, I thought I'd put two and two together and that this fight was going to be the one where Ippo loses. Hard. And the majority of the fight fed into that and really felt like it too. Ippo was awesome and truly felt like the Japanese champ, but throughout the fight he was still getting beaten on so badly that I genuinely believed this was it. So you can only imagine my surprise when the fight comes to a close and Ippo actually wins. I was so hyped about it, I don't even know how to explain it. The fight had so many amazing moments and fantastically drawn panels, and to somehow still top it off with Ippo beating the odds and winning was just so damn cathartic. And because of that mindset I went in, it was easily one of the most satisfying wins I have watched in this series. Or read, I might say. I couldn't even believe it. In that last chapter when everything was drawn all hazy like, for a minute I thought, damn, maybe Ippo's went unconscious and this is all just some sort of crazy dream. But no. It was real and he won. The second factor into why I think this fight was so well done is the theme of hard work versus natural talent. It's something that a lot of people, including myself obviously, really loved within early Naruto, specifically in the fight between Gaara and Rock Lee. Now I think it might be a little bit far-fetched to compare Ippo versus Wally to Gaara versus Lee, but nonetheless it still shares some of those themes and really hits home how hard Ippo has had to work to come this far, and highlights how much he loves boxing as a whole, thus why he's worked so hard. I just couldn't help putting myself in Ippo's shoes at this point. I'm no boxer to say the least, could barely even call myself an amateur at best, but I do train 5 days a week with 3 of those being boxing sessions. And at some point in my life, I wouldn't mind getting into the ring properly, even if just for some amateur fights here and there. And I couldn't even begin to imagine what it would feel like to be paired up against some wicked boxing genius. But Ippo's tenacity and the fact he still managed to come out winning just really ended up striking a chord with me, because if he can work his ass off and do it, why can't I someday? There's also little moments in the fight that really got me, like the way that Ippo sets tangible goals within each round. It reminds me of something that I personally do when I train. When I decide to go on the heavy bag, I typically do around 7 rounds. And something that I tend to do typically towards, the 5th, 6th, and 7th rounds that I'm getting gassed is set tangible goals. If it's the last 45 seconds to a round, I'll think to myself, okay, at a bare minimum, I need to do 20 combos in this 45 seconds. And at that point, I can rest. And if I do those 20 combos and I see there's still 15 seconds left on the clock, All right, 5 more. It's just little things like that where I can compare it to my own life that really just resonate with me. I can't say I like Wally as a character. He is pretty bland in and of himself, you know, crazy talented monkey boy that loves boxing, but I absolutely love Ippo versus Wally as a plot device. I feel as though it even really comes to drive home a fundamental flaw in Ippo's boxing that he seems to have forgotten about. Remember early on in the anime when he didn't want to hurt his mum's feelings, so he went into fights with the mentality of hit without getting hit. Yet now, all he seems to do is be getting hit, which I feel as though really works well to foreshadow his future retirement, which I know is going to happen. I've been spoiled a little bit. All in all, this just ended up being a adrenaline-packed fight that I absolutely adored. I seriously just loved Ippo vs. Wally. Hajime No Ippo in and of itself has quickly become one of my favorite manga all time, up there with Berserk. So at some point in my life, I will probably end up getting a tattoo from it. And at this point, I'm genuinely considering getting a panel from the Ippo vs. Wally fight. That's how much it meant to me. Unless, of course, I see something else that resonates with me a lot more in the last couple of 100 chapters I've got left till I'm caught up. But then I guess the manga is still ongoing, so who knows? Anyway, at this point, I'm just rambling. Let me know what you think about Ippo vs. Wally in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts, whether it be positive or negative. I'm genuinely curious, especially after hearing what I've had to say. And yeah, have a fantastic day. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.